An NBA game on Christmas Day has special meaning for Enes Kanter. Tomorrow, Kanter and the Boston Celtics face the Raptors in Toronto. That is a game made possible after discussions with the Canadian government. In an op-ed published yesterday, the Turkish-born player wrote, "I haven't been able to go to cities outside the United States. I've had to leave my team behind, which is hard for someone like me, who values camaraderie and team solidarity as much as I do. The reason, I speak out against the Turkish state." And at this time, I would like to welcome Enes Kanter on our set right now for a little bit more on what he wrote. Thank you very much for joining us today. You've been in Canada now for only a couple hours, and just before you came on, you said as the plane was landing, you and your teammates were talking about, this is real. Tell me about that.
It was actually, I was kind of a little nervous, but at the same time very excited because it's been years that I have not stepped outside of America. But now it was just, I don't know if I can describe it with words, but just stepping outside of America, just feeling this air, and I'm like, you know what? I felt really free to just be out there, and then, having this, enjoying that moment with my teammates. It was definitely amazing.
As I mentioned in the introduction, you had your passport revoked, your Turkish passport revoked in 2017. Please, for those who are unfamiliar, tell us about how that situation happened in the first place.
Well, I mean, just because there are some issues going on in my country, I talk about some of the issues, like how there is no democracy in my country, how there is no freedom of speech, religion, or expression in country, how Turkish, government, especially Erdogan regime, using its power to abuse human rights violation and red notice system with Interpol. So that's why I talk about these issues, just because I have a platform. When I say something, it goes viral, and they hate that. Turkish government hate that. So when I was talking about these issues, they revoked my passport back in 2017, and I don't have a home right now.
How is the situation resolved?
Oh, it's definitely tough. It's definitely tough because I mean it's been tough for 4 or 5 years, I'll say. But right now I'm working with lots of the senators, congresswomen, and American government. They've been helpful a lot.
And you told me just offset as well that a phone call to the Prime Minister's office as well was part of this.
I really want to thank, first of all, Canadian government and Mr. Justin Trudeau. One of my friends just reached out to his office today, and all he said is all good. And it just gave me definitely gave me a lot of relaxation.
You talk about the platform that you have.
Right.
Do you plan on, now that your situation for the time being seems like it's been resolved, not permanently, but for the time being that it has, how else can you use your platform to advocate for other people in Turkey?
Well, I mean, people know my story because obviously I play in an NBA, so they know what's going on in my life. But I'm trying to use my platform to be a voice of all those innocent people out there who don't have a voice. Right now, if you look at it in Turkey, Turkey is the #1 country in the world that put most journalists in a jail. And there are 17,000 innocent women in a jail with their babies, over 100,000, and they're growing up in jails. So I'm trying to tell people like, hey, look, you guys know my story because I'm an MBA, but there are lots of families, lots of stories out there that's way worse than mine. So I hope, all I can do is, all I'm trying to do is try to create awareness of what's going on over there.
You are a follower of Fethullah Gulen. That is a man, Claire, he is a man, though, that is considered by the Turkish government to be a terrorist. How is that situation complicated? How has your following of him complicated your situation?
I've been going to see this movement school since 2nd grade. So I grew up in this movement. I know Mr. Fethullah Gulen in a very early age. What his ideology is, it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. It doesn't matter what your cultural religion is. He believes that most important thing in life is leave your difference on the table and trying to find what we have in common. And he believes we have lots of issues going on in our century, and we can solve these problems with education. So that's why, I mean, whenever I go visit him, we always talk about how can we make this world better together. That's the key word.
But it's your association with him that has gotten you in trouble with the Turkish government. In the past, you wrote in your op-ed in the Globe and Mail as well that you have literally had your life threatened.
Right. Many times.
Kidnap threatened in Indonesia. Take us through some of what's happened.
I mean, it was tough. I was doing a basketball camp before they revoked my passport. I was in a basketball camp in Indonesia, and the Turkish government, working with the Indonesian government to, just kidnap me in Indonesia and send me back to Turkey. Luckily, we escaped the country early and went to Singapore. But I mean, I'm lucky I got the news early, but there are lots of families out there. It's all over the news that they are getting kidnapped in Indonesia, Malaysia, Bosnia, and they sent them to Turkey, and they are being jailed. There are lots of families like that. You know, just because of I played in NBA, they know my story.
Without going into anything that might put you in jeopardy, you're not exactly the type of person who can blend in just walking around. Are you worried about your security as you walk on the streets in Canada, in the United States, anywhere?
Well, I'll tell you this. Before I actually today, right before I get in Canada, they said, "Hey, don't leave your room."
And here you are.
They said, and here I am.
Are you worried?
So I am not worried because I know. I don't think there's going to be any kind of operations in Canada. I trust Canadian government. I trust Mr. Trudeau. But if I was anywhere else besides in America, besides in, you know, Canada, yes, I believe my life could be in danger because I get death threats almost every day by, you know, Erdogan's goons. But what I'm like I said, they tell me to not leave my room. Here I am, in front of you, in front of the millions of people, and trying to be a voice of.
What about your family? Are you concerned about them? Both your parents, your brother plays basketball as well?
I mean, last time I saw my family was back in 2015, and last time I talked to them, I don't even remember. Just because I talk about these issues, my family members, my dad was a genetic professor, he got fired from his job. My sister went to medical school for 6 years now, she got fired, and she cannot find no job. But my family had to put a statement out there and said we are disowning Enes. And but Turkish government didn't believe that. They sent police to my house in Turkey and they raided the whole house. And they took electronics away, phones away, computers away, laptops away. They wanted to see if I am still in contact with my family or not. And if they were to see any single text message or missed call or email, they will be in trouble. So right now, it's even so hard for me to even communicate with them over the phone. But that's the risk I'm taking.
I asked you this beforehand, and you gave me a great answer, and I want everyone else to hear. And you alluded to this earlier as well, that you're sort of without a home right now.
Yes.
Where do you want to be home? Like, what feels like home to you, and where do you want to be?
What feels like home? Obviously now, I mean, of course, America, because that's where I earn my respect and my money. And American people been amazing. It's been amazing. You know, I'm actually becoming an American citizen in 2021. But you know, but this summer, I would love to come to Canada and do a lot of basketball camps here. I'm actually planning to meet with Mr. Trudeau this summer in Ottawa, so that'll be amazing.
When you step onto the court tomorrow, it's a big day for Raptors fans, and I'm sure you understand the importance of the Christmas Day game. Toronto fans have long felt that they haven't gotten the due respect. So for the Toronto fans, it's a big deal, though it's a big deal for you, and for a different reason. How are you going to feel when the game begins, you step on the court?
I don't know. I really don't know, because first of all, it's a huge blessing to play in a Christmas Day against last year's champion, Toronto Raptors. But I think when I step on that court, it's going to give me so much hope that, you know what, I think we are accomplishing something. I think what we're trying to do is working. Now is like, now with all these issues going on, now the governments are involved. Now governments got our back. So I think it's so important for me to just go out there tomorrow and just represent the freedom.
I hope everything goes well tomorrow. As a Raptors fan, I hope it doesn't go too well, of course. But we're happy to have you here.
Good game plan on him, so.
Oh, you want to tell us? You want it? Oh, okay, you got to.
I'm good.
Good for you keeping that one secret. We appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
This is Enes Kanter of the Boston Celtics joining me now in studio and in Canada for the first time.
Yep.